This video is something that I plan to film in like the ambiguous future. Normally the topics that I cover in my videos are strictly related to books in the online book community. I recently made a video about how I got my job in publishing, and I mentioned how I wanted to make more videos about working in publishing. So this video was something that I did plan to film in the ambiguous future, like the far off future of like, I know I need to talk about this, but I don't feel like I've put in the time. I didn't feel like I'd quote unquote like paid my dues, which is something we hear a lot in publishing. But I've realized that a lot of the things that I've noticed, a lot of the problems that I've seen, are things that have been happening since long before I started working in the industry. And I've learned a lot and heard a lot through the work I've done with Black, Indigenous, people of color in publishing, the like full extent of things that are not things that I just have anecdotally heard from my friends. I've heard things from other people that I don't know personally, and just seen the full scope of things in Canada specifically. And I feel like nothing's gonna change if we keep being shy about it, that instead of paying lip service to things, actually making actionable plans, which is something this industry just sometimes feels like it's reluctant to do. Like, I wrote an outline for this video because I feel like if I didn't, I wouldn't get my thoughts out succinctly or understandably. I don't know words right now. I'm so tired. It's been the longest fucking week of my life. I feel like I started off this week so angry, and like as the week progressed, I've just gotten more and more tired. This isn't directed at like just Canada. It's not just directed at one house or one imprint or one executive team. It's a problem everywhere, and this entire industry needs to be held accountable for the overwhelming sense of complacency that has kept it stagnant for so long. Just this week alone, seeing the responses to the murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, and the deaths of Regis Korchinski Paquette and Chantel Moore in Canada at the hands of the police after what were supposed to be wellness checks. It was sort of the breaking point for me, and it really made me lose hope in the industry. It really put into perspective how many people still don't get it, even though they're supposed to be intelligent and read all these books about anti-racism or whatever they're putting on lists this week. It made me realize how many people still can't say the words Black Lives Matter with their chest because they're so scared for their reputations, and the fact that they're going to be called out, rightfully so, for not doing enough for the non-white employees in their workspaces, and for, quite frankly, the lack of us there. Before this week, I actually thought I'm going to do my work with BIPOC of Pub, and we're going to be the change we want to see in the industry. But then publishing was finally forced to look at itself due to circumstances that were out of their control and that should never have happened in the first place. And I'm worried they're going to quietly just resume business as usual once enough time has passed. But there's no way you can go back to anything this time. Like, you have to be ready to actually be held accountable. I'm nervous to be talking about this so directly, but I'm also like tired, like I said, more than anything. I'm tired of pretending that everything isn't a trash fire, and I'm tired of us having to resort to a whisper network when we're interested in a position to find out what we would be getting ourselves into if we joined a certain company, or us having to pick and choose our battles so that we're seen as professional. Like, I'm not even talking about just my experiences. I'm talking about things that have trended through all the stories that I've heard. I'm so tired, and I haven't even been doing it as long as some people that I know. How many Black, Indigenous, and other people of color do you think left the industry because you did nothing to change it? Because publishing takes time. You've had the time. You are not a new industry. You are not new companies. And yet you are still here with these archaic practices that keep people of color out of the spaces you supposedly want us in. White coworkers, you have been and still are the majority. But what are you doing to support us? Are you asking the tough questions? Are you the ones holding your executive teams accountable? Because I know people of color in junior positions have been out here asking for their teams to be held accountable. I see them speaking up and I see them asking their leadership to do more. So where are you? It's not enough to simply leave the dismantling to us. You can retweet our threads and boost our voices, but when it comes down to it, what are you doing to make sure that things actually change? Are you going to just sit quietly, wait for things to gently return to some sort of semblance of a regular, normal routine? Because here's some news that you might not have considered before. For some of us, this has always been the normal. Racism doesn't stop just because the media finds a new headline. Racism doesn't check out when we step through those office doors, and it does not wait for us to clock out to affect our lives. Why are we forming our own organizations to diversify your workforces, to provide education and resources that you have no hand in, when you do nothing to make the industry sustainable for the people that come because of our work? This week alone, I've seen so many Black women leave positions in this industry because when it mattered, their companies couldn't step up and just say, you matter. We value your life and the lives of all Black people. We stand with you, and this is how we're going to show it. At least not before having days worth of discussion about how to make sure you say the right thing and then you just don't end up saying anything at all. Because what? You're scared to not get money from the readers who don't believe it? Because I'm not going to lie, right now, if you work in publishing as a person of color, sometimes it feels like the money they can make from certain books matters more than you. When it comes down to it, publishing is a business, and yeah, look, they're finally publishing more authors of color. They're probably publishing people that you have always looked up to. They're finally getting their platform, but they're also giving a platform to racists. You've got to cover your bases on both sides financially, I guess. The fact is, right now, publishing treats people of color like they're disposable. If one of us leaves, they can find somebody else to take your place in your junior position, even if you're tired and that's the reason you left, without having to change anything. Gotta keep those lead and low numbers up, even though they show how abysmal you're doing in publishing right now. I've met great people, actual allies who do the work with us, but the industry as a capitalist construct is not currently a safe or inclusive space for a person of color to be employed in right now. We're treated like we are lucky to be here. The industry pats themselves on the back. Hey, look at us. Look at those people of color that we gave jobs. Good job, go us. But now guess what? We're miserable because you didn't change the system, and the system was not built with us in mind. So by bringing us in and leaving us to drown, you are making it basically impossible for us to thrive and grow and actually stay. So I'm saying it publicly now, you need to do better. I've said it publicly before through BIPOC of Pub, but me as a person talking for all the people I've spoken to, it's not enough. If you want us to stay and help fix your mess, you have to give us a reason to want to. Because right now, we are so tired of trying to make the smallest fucking change and not being given the ability to. You tell us we need to be the change we want to see. We need to come up with the initiatives. But then you don't listen to us when we bring up these issues, or you put it off because it's not an immediate priority for you. So how exactly are we supposed to dismantle it? This industry is not our fault, but it is our problem because you made it our problem. I've realized this week, I've had to make my peace that the industry's inaction is not a reflection of me not doing enough. It's a reflection of them not wanting to change. It's not my fault. And why are we fighting a place that doesn't seem to want to change? I'm tired of fighting for an industry that largely with their silence up until this point has told us they don't want us here through their actions, or lack of actions actually. And that is why people of color leave, because you all tell us time and time again how you're gonna do better, how you're gonna be better. You're good with words, you know the right things to say, but it's not about sentiment, it's about action. So I'll ask you one more time, what are you doing to change? And to those who are finally beginning to take the steps to make change, why did it take more brutal murders of Black people caught on camera for you to light the fire under your ass and finally do something? It should not have taken this. Right now, you don't have the trust of a lot of BIPOC in this community, and you're gonna have to work very hard to earn it, and quite frankly, you should. You haven't done nearly enough right now, and you seem to be scared to face the fact that you have to own up to it. I'm not saying this just for me. I'm saying it for everybody who doesn't feel comfortable enough to come forward. I'm saying it for everybody that I've spoken to. I'm saying it for all the people who've made threads, because quite frankly, some people who need to hear this aren't on social media and they're not seeing the conversations that we're having, and maybe it takes putting a face to the problem to see how it affects the people of color in their industry. Hello, my name is Paige, and I've been crying a lot this week. I truly thought I was going to come into this video like fiery and angry, but I don't think I have a lot of fire left. She's a little kindling now. She's not where she was at the beginning of the week, and I'm gonna go, guys. It's been a fucking week, man.